Possibilities, a podcast for those who are ready to evolve into unstoppable, intuitive, and resilient entrepreneurial leaders. Every episode features successful business thought leaders who share their wisdom about insightful topics that help you amplify how you do business and serve yourself and others. Get comfortable and have fun as you listen to your host, Terry Wildemann, have lively conversation with her guest. Here's Terry. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Awaken the Possibilities. I'm your host, Terry Wildemann. And this week, as in every week, I bring you wonderful, wonderful guests who help you to really grow in your personal life and your business life. And today's guest is definitely someone that you may want to connect with. I would like to introduce you to Dr. Amanda Barrientez. She is a neuro freedom alignment coach. Try saying that 3 times fast. Neuro freedom alignment coach. And she helps entrepreneurs train their brain to create freedom and alignment in life and business. What makes Amanda unique is how she coaches from a coupling her social sciences training with real life experiences of going from food stamps to 6 figures. So hold on to your seats, folks. This is going to be interesting. Today, she has a growing coaching company, and it is her greatest joy to help others experiencing mindset, money, and manifestation shifts so they can get unstuck and be free to get where they want to go. So this is going to be a really fun show. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thanks for having me here. Can't wait for our conversation.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So, you know, when you and I were first talking, this was a while back, you mentioned food stamps to 6 figures. And we never really got into the juiciness of that because that is really a very powerful statement and topic. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you went from food stamps and what got you to food stamps to a 6-figure income in 3 years?
Absolutely. Let's see. Well, I'd say it started, as a neuro freedom alignment coach. It started way back when I was a child.
That's the way it works.
Right. It's like those unconscious belief systems about money. So there's that piece that we can dive into. But really, it happened. I was in grad school and I left my 15-year marriage having an affair, and my next relationship was falling apart. And which made sense, looking back. I didn't have a lot of relationship skills, and I got married really, really young. We had 3 kids. Oh, wow. And I didn't know how to say I want to leave, so I blew it up to leave. And my ex-husband lost his job. So here I am with 3 kids in grad school and a very, very meager income, and then no child support. And, sitting on the floor crying one night and going, oh, wow, my life sucks. I've always been really good at setting a goal for, I'd say academic, right? When you decide to go into a PhD program, you're pretty committed, and it's a very clear linear path. If you check all the boxes and do the work, you can make it happen. And the hard part was money. It was always a struggle. But I thought, okay, if I get my PhD, I'll be able to get out of this situation. But here I am on the floor crying, going, I'm alone, I'm single, I have 3 kids, I don't know how I'm going to feed them. And luckily, I was at University of Colorado Boulder, and my counselor, I had free counseling, and she said, you got to go get food stamps, just access social services. And I was like, so much shame around it, and I didn't want to. And finally I did, because I didn't have a choice. I didn't know how to feed my kids, and that's pretty important to me. So I went and got food stamps, and in that same period of time, I realized I'm the center of my problems in relationship and money world. And so I started turning to podcasts, and because I didn't even really at the time know I didn't consider life coaching as a thing I would access. And I was in counseling, and I was going, I've got to change me. Something is not right here. And I'm tired of this reality. I'm tired of feeling stuck in survival mode, tired of having broken relationships. like, I need to change. And so I actually started listening to a whole bunch of relationship podcasts, and it, divinely led me to one where the person who was running the podcast was opening what he called the relationship school. And he had just happened to be in Boulder, Colorado, which is where I was.
Imagine that.
Right?
When the student is ready, the teacher will come.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened. So I emailed him. I'm like, I gave him this long, like, oh, I've got to be there. I have to be here. And he said, no one comes in for free. You got to, like, what's a trade we can do? So we negotiated a deal where I did work study. I came up with a little bit of money. I like sold furniture and bikes. Like, I sold everything I could to give him some cash. And then I did work study. And that led me to one of my main mentors, John DeMartini, to a workshop of his. And it was a $35
John is magnificent.
Workshop. Yeah, incredible. I have his certifications. So I went to his $35 workshop, and then, I didn't know at the time, but that was to promote his weekend workshop that was around $2,000. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, at the time that was more than 10% of my annual income. Yeah. And I was like, how am I going to get there? But I felt so called, like, I have to be there. Like, it's just not an option. And
I've had that experience. And when you get called like that, you have to go.
100%. I'm a very big believer in that. Yeah. And so, I went home that night, and I talked to his daughter, does a lot of the running, talking to people who are coming to his experience. And I was like, I've got to be there. Can you give me a scholarship, anything? She's like, nope, you'll figure it out. I'm like, oh, how? So I got resourceful, and I remembered that I had a student loan available for a computer that I had never, there was funding available basically that I could access that I had never accessed. And so I called my university, and they were like, yeah, it's yours. And they gave me $2,000. Perfect amount.
Isn't that amazing? The perfect amount of money that you needed showed up.
Yeah. And that changed my life. So that was the trajectory into changing my belief system, changing who I am. That was the start of it all. And then I really just started implementing everything I was learning. And then I got the bug of like, oh my gosh, I want to be a coach. Like, this would be so much better for me than being a professor, because academic world has a whole different set of stressors, and I would have had to move, and the income is limited. And, there were just the amount of impact that I could have made, all those things. So I just started implementing. And I said, I'm going for it. And I just have gone all the way. So when I, opened the door for coaching, things happened really fast. And I would say I was all in, so I want to break 6 figures my first full-time year. And I was all in, and I did, I worked on myself, and I changed my money beliefs, and I changed my core beliefs around self-worth. And I shifted wealth building to my highest value. And so every decision I made was filtered through that, and it worked. So here I am today.
Wealth building to your highest value. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because that is very juicy.
Yeah. So I'm trained in DeMartini's values determination system. And when I'm talking about values in this way, I'm not talking about values like most people think about, like honesty, integrity, not talking about that. I'm talking about your orientation of the way that you set your priorities in life, and what you really, really are driven and called to do. And your values are determined by your void. So usually you'll be driven in an area where you have a void, which I had a huge void, food stamps, right? So I was really highly motivated. I realized, it was actually that relationship workshop, I realized that I didn't have wealth building anywhere on my value system. And it was like, I realized, oh, no wonder I'm not wealthy. I didn't even think it was a skill that you could learn. I just thought, like, I kind of thought about wealthy people as like magical unicorns who just got there somehow, or were born that way. And I realized, oh, I can actually learn the strategies and skills and habits of wealthy people. Mm-hmm. So I started reading everything I could on wealth. I started listening to podcasts, YouTube. I just dug in. I was like, okay, I can do this. I can figure this out. And so I implemented all of those strategies and shifted that. And so that's what I mean by shifting wealth building to my top value. And then I just filtered every decision I made through that. Like, is this going to help me build my wealth? Is it a yes or a no? Is this going to help me build my wealth? Yes or no? And so it makes it very easy when you use your values orientation to make decisions. And it's very easy to make decisions when you're living in your highest values.
Yes, it really, really is. And your highest values, when you identify them, clarity comes. And when clarity comes, then it's
Yes.
up to you. Here's the thing, though. You can get clear. It doesn't mean that you will take inspired action towards them. So it's about being committed. And that's a word that you were saying, commitment,
Yeah.
commitment. But there's also other pieces in there. How much does trust and intuition play a role in what it is that you discovered and you experienced?
You know, that's such an interesting one because I think that I have a really powerful intuitive ability that I have not given credit until recently. I
Yeah.
would with my clients, and I would trust that I could get the answer in the moment and know what to do. But with myself, I think it's taken me some time to build up the confidence and like really, it's kind of that imposter syndrome thing, right? Where
Yeah.
it's like when I stepped into coaching, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but but I trust that I'll figure it out, So there is that piece there, but that was the very first critical shift for me, was starting to trust myself and starting to, my definition of confidence is to know, love, and trust yourself. And in that, you allow the intuitive information to guide you, and you take action on it instead of ignoring it, instead of minimizing it, instead of pretending it's not there. You go, I don't know why, but I'm getting the information that I need to move forward on this, and I'm going to just faithfully flow into it and trust that the universe is showing me the way.
And that was going to be my next question. You just beat me to it. How much of it is trust that everything that you need will come to you if you just get out of the way?
Yeah, so big and so awesome. I mean, really, this year, my 2020 big, I'd say commitment has been, I'm going to learn the art and science of manifestation. Like, I'm just like, it's so juicy. It's so fun. And I'm like going, whoa, like I pinch myself often. And I'm like, how did I not know this before? And
There you go.
how awesome is life when you get to decide something you want to do and then it manifests because you trust, you surrender, you allow, you receive all those parts of that happening.
And that is such a big, big deal to trust it. The moment the energy comes in of, recently somebody just said to me, I'm in the middle of delivering my new program, Limitless Prosperity. And it's all about the money blocks and all about intuition and trusting and
nice,
all that great stuff and magnetic business attraction. And when this individual that I was interacting with basically said to me, you can't really attract money. You can't really attract wealth and health. And I'm like, and if that's your belief, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's so true.
And and I basically I had a very similar story to you about with the 2000. I will never forget when my kids were in elementary school. I wanted to take a course called Body Talk, and it was there was a real special deal. If you paid by this specific date, they took X amount off, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $800, and I didn't have the $800. So to make a very long story short, it was the last year at my kids' grammar school, and there was a big raffle ticket, and we bought all these raffles tickets, blah 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 blah. And I'm working the salad bar at the event. There was a little country fair, and all of a sudden everybody turns around and just stares at me. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I won the big prize, which was $1,000, and I needed 800.
So great.
My husband 200, and I kept the 800, and it was due 2 days later.
Wow.
So it was like, I just knew it was going to show up. I didn't know
what,
but boy, they were cutting it close.
Yeah. That happens sometimes. Yeah.
The thing is, though, when we trust that deeply and really call to ourselves the things that we really, really want, it will come to us if we just get out of the way and stay in the positive versus the negative.
Yeah.
That negative energy really just lowers the vibrations down. Can you talk about that, Amanda? Because I know that you have a lot of information when it comes to that.
Yeah, I love it. It's been huge in the conversations with myself and my clients lately, is that strategies to increase your vibrational frequency so that you're living in that state of joy and attracting what you want. So, you know, the way that I do my neuro freedom alignment system is helping you get aligned so you can get the results that you want. And it starts with your thoughts, you know, so it's what are those thoughts? Beliefs are just thoughts that you keep thinking over and over. The thing that gets stuck that's challenging is that 95% of our thoughts are unconscious. 95% of our habits are unconscious, which is very useful because we wouldn't be able to survive without that. You know, if you had to get into the car every time and learn how to drive again because it wasn't an automatic habit, you know, we would never get anywhere. Right. So it's really useful, but when they're not set up for you to get the results you want, then you're on autopilot, and then it's challenging to shift. So you've got to do strategic work in order to get realigned in the direction you want to go. And so, you know, all of my work is really about consciousness raising. And in that consciousness raising, you get to then intentionally go, what's the most joyful state I can get into? And to me, that's values alignment, where you go, I am living the life I want to live. And I wake up every day inspired because I'm doing exactly what I love. And then you get to have the magic one life where you manifest whatever you want because your frequency is matched.
I'm going to stop you right here because what you just said is very, very important. You need to live, and I don't like to use the word need because need means lack. Living the life that you want now in mind, body, and spirit, and being appreciative and grateful for what you have now. Can you repeat and talk about that again? Because it is, you know, for us to attract what we want, we've got to live it, believe it, be in the energy now, and then more and more comes to us and it gets bigger and bigger. So can you please do that again? I apologize for cutting in, but this is just too big.
No problem. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, this is the key to life, right? This is the key to manifesting the exact life you want, where, you know, when I say neuro freedom alignment, this is exactly it. It's that freedom piece, because we all want freedom. And what freedom means is living the life you want to live. And that's going to look different to everybody. You know, someone else is going to want something different than I want, but to get there, it's you aligning most powerfully with your most inspired value system, because then every day you wake up and you go, I say I want this, I'm creating it through making decisions, commitments, and actions in that direction because it's aligned. Where people run into problems is that we often should ourselves. You know, we go, I should do this, I should do that. You know, they told me I should do this. Or you don't believe in yourself. You know, you don't believe you deserve it. You don't believe that you're capable of it. You don't believe that people won't judge you for what you want. You know, so we have all those self-doubt and inner critic conversations that keep our belief system out of alignment. I call this competing commitments. So you have competing commitments in your conscious and unconscious systems, which is then really hard to live in joy and inspiration, because you say you want something, but you're not taking action on it. And it just creates this cycle. So it's really powerful when we can get into alignment, and then that creates the freedom that you want.
There you go. There you go. So I'm curious. It's powerful to get into alignment. Resistance is a very common thing.
Yeah.
There's something about crossing the finish line, and there's a lack of self-worth, lack of control, lack of this, and the finish line is right there. You see it, you feel it. And we self-sabotage crossing that finish line.
Yeah.
What is it when you're working with your clients that you see the most? You know, what is it that with your specific tribe, your specific client, do you see that stops them from stepping over that line? And to me, as I say to folks, I don't care whether you're in first place, second place, third place, 100th place. I don't care. The thing is to get across that finish line and grab the gold ring that's yours. What do you find in your clientele that plays a real big piece on what I call the backward shuffle?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a juicy, big, good question. And first I want to say, I mean, something you're saying embedded in the subtext of what you're even saying, of saying, I don't care if you're first, second, third, or 100th. Already, that's part of the problem, is that people compare themselves to other people.
Yes.
I would say that might be the number one problem that people across the board, everyone I've ever worked with, negatively compares themselves to other people. Or it could even be to a version of themselves from the past, or the version of themselves they think they should be.
Ah, very nice. Yes.
So there's a lot there. It's like when we're living out of alignment in this place of negative self-comparison, already your vibe is low because you're beating yourself up.
Yep.
Right? So doubt is a low frequency, shame, a low frequency, guilt, a low frequency. So when you're in that space, you're already behind, so I'd say that's huge. So I love the quote by Mark Twain. He says, comparison is the death of joy.
It is. It
So
really,
true,
really is. One of the things I don't think, I know, we forget that we are just like, and I'm going to say the word snowflake, even though politically God only knows what it is. Every snowflake is different. Okay. Every single snowflake is different.
Yeah.
Every human being is different.
Yeah.
And when we honor what makes us unique, what makes us special in mind, body, and spirit, so much amazing things happen because each of us have a role in this lifetime to influence others who cross our path. Mm-hmm. So one of the things you were just saying about comparing ourselves to others, can you expand on how that comparison actually depletes who we are versus enhances who we are?
It's so big. I mean, when you're talking, I'm thinking about the parallels of just even the micro effects of negative self-comparison and the macro effects, right? It's like really what's going on. We don't need to get into a big discussion about what's going on in the world right now, but it's at the root of that. Because we're talking about if everybody just accepted themselves for who they were, then they would project that outward and accept other people for who they were. Mm-hmm. There would just be love. Yeah. Like, there'll just be a state of love. Like, oh, I love myself. I love you. I don't need to project my fears onto you. I don't need to project my anger at myself for being out of alignment onto you. And life would be a lot easier.
What a great place to end our show today on love and acceptance and moving forward, being who we are meant to be in this lifetime. So, Amanda, how can the Awaken the Possibilities audience get in touch with you?
All of my handles are at NFA Coaching. I'm most active on LinkedIn, which is where Terry and I met. I'm a big LinkedIn fan, and I'm always into the networking of awesome people. So you can find me on LinkedIn. My website is NFA Coaching, and I'm also on Instagram, and I have a podcast called Max Potential Habits. So similarly, I release 2 every week. I have one that I do myself, just me, that's short, and then an interview. So there's always good tips, strategies, inspirational interviews there. I have a ton of freebies on my website. I've got free master classes, all kinds of cool stuff. So nfacoaching.com, you'll find everything there and all the links to me.
Thank you so much for being here. And to my Awaken the Possibilities audience, you know where to find me at awakenthepossibilities.com. You can find the video, you can find the audio, as well as the transcripts. We're on YouTube. We are all over different platforms, iHeart, Spotify, SoundCloud, you name it, we're out there. Also, please look at intuitiveleadership.com. Intuitive Leadership University happens to have some new courses that are going to be up, and we have our VIP coaching packages as well as some upcoming virtual retreats. So that's intuitiveleadership.com. Thank you so much for coming every single week and listening to amazing guests like Amanda. I mean, you just absolute rock star. Thank you so much for being here. And I wish you so much love and joy from my heart to your heart. Have your best week ever. We'll see you next time. To your success. Thanks for joining us for this episode. Visit our website at awakenthepossibilities.com to subscribe to listen and rate our podcast on your favorite platform, such as YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Cashbox, and more. For events, business, mindset, and leadership coaching services and courses, visit our website at intuitiveleadership.com. We look forward to sharing more insightful episodes and wish you much success in your business and life.